Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're digging into something pretty significant happening in European defense. Poland's really ambitious military modernization.
That's right.
We've seen reports highlighting this huge investment. They're making, 4% of their GDP?
A full 4%, yeah. Highest in NATO right now.
Wow. And that's not just, buying shiny new kit. It feels like a fundamental shift.
It absolutely is. And like you said, it's not just about getting the hardware, the Patriot missiles, Abrams tanks, K2 tanks, F-35s, HIMARS, all very advanced stuff.
Right.
The immediate pressing challenge is how do you actually train your people on this cutting-edge Western tech, especially when they're used to, legacy Soviet-era equipment?
That sounds like a huge hurdle, a real advanced skills chasm, as some are calling it.
Exactly. You need to bridge that gap, and fast if that investment is going to translate into real capability and, crucially, smooth NATO interoperability.
And the old ways of training. Maybe not up to scratch for this.
Well, traditional methods are foundational, of course, but they often struggle with the speed, the complexity, and frankly, the safety requirements of these modern systems. Keeping pace is tough.
Okay. And this is where things get interesting based on the material we looked at. There's this initiative from EON Reality, the AI Academy for Defense Polish Modernization track. Sounds like they're trying to tackle this problem head on.
They are. They're leveraging spatial AI, which is basically AI that understands and interacts with the physical world digitally, and XR, extended reality.
So virtual reality, augmented reality, that kind of thing.
Precisely, for immersive training experiences. The core idea is to use this tech to rapidly upskill Polish forces.
So what's at the heart of EON Reality's solution here? What makes it different?
Well, it's really about their integrated ecosystem. The foundation is something called the EON XR platform. Think of it as a digital space where they can build these incredibly realistic, interactive 3D training simulations.
Not just generic simulations, though.
No, that's key. They're specifically designed to be digital twins, essentially, of the actual equipment Poland is buying. Virtual Patriots, Abrams, K2s, F-35s, HIMARS, you name it.
Okay, having accurate virtual models makes sense, but you mentioned AI playing a big role.
Yes, and this is perhaps the most innovative part, their spatial AI text-to-XR capability.
Text-to-XR, what does that mean in practice?
It means they can take existing text, like dense technical manuals, standard operating procedures, doctrine, even just basic descriptions, feed it to the AI. And the AI converts that text into a fully interactive XR training module. And get this, they claim it takes under 80 seconds.
Under 80 seconds, seriously.
That's the claim. Compared to potentially months or even years for traditional courseware development, it's a quantum leap.
That is incredibly fast. How does that work without losing accuracy?
Yeah.
Is the AI specialized?
Yeah. The AI is trained specifically on technical language, engineering principles, 3D modeling concepts. It understands how to interpret that source text and generate functional, interactive 3D content from it, and critically, in Polish.
Okay, that speed and the language capability are huge.
Yeah.
So this platform, this text-to-XR thing, it powers their AI Academy. What does that look like for a Polish soldier?
Right. The Academy is the actual program. It's a dedicated workforce development pipeline for Poland's modernization needs. It takes those XR simulations you mentioned.
Like flying a virtual F-35 or fixing an Abrams.
Exactly. Or operating a Patriot fire control unit, running HIMARS deployment drills, all in this safe virtual environment. And it blends that simulation practice with AI-driven personalized learning paths.
Personalized how?
The AI can track progress, identify weak spots, and adjust the training for the individual. The goal isn't just button pushing, it's deep procedural knowledge, practical skills. They even offer micro-credentials for specific competencies.
And connecting them to jobs afterwards.
Yeah, linking graduates to relevant roles, both within the military and potentially the supporting defense industry. It's designed as a complete pathway.
You also mentioned some other AI tools, EON Career Guide and Compass.
Right. More AI assistance. The guide helps personnel see potential career paths within this new modernized force structure. The compass helps identify the specific skills they might be missing for, say, operating a new system, and then points them to the right EON XR modules to fill those gaps quickly. It's about proactive career management tied to Poland's strategic needs.
And the actual training content, the curriculum that's developed with Polish input, not just generic stuff.
Absolutely critical. They're collaborating closely with Polish military SMEs, subject matter experts, and Polish defense industry partners like PGZ Group.
PGZ, the big Polish defense conglomerate.
That's them. So the curriculum is tailored. It goes beyond just operating the equipment. It includes things like human AI collaboration, how to interpret data from advanced sensors, operating effectively in these new digitized battlefields, all specific to Poland's context and NATO doctrine.
And this whole integrated approach, they claim it speeds up learning significantly.
The claim is mastery of complex systems up to 4 times faster than traditional methods. That's a big number.
4 times faster. Wow. Okay, so that's the what. What about the how? How does this actually get rolled out across the Polish military? Who needs to be involved?
It definitely requires a partnership approach. You need the top-level buy-in, obviously, government and military leadership, the Ministry of National Defense, the general staff, the training directorates.
They set the strategy, define the requirements based on what they're buying and when, make sure it aligns with NATO standards.
Precisely. They provide the strategic oversight and facilitate the integration into the force structure.
Okay, strategic level covered.
Yeah.
What about on the ground, delivering the training?
That's where academic and training institutions come in. Think places like the Military University of Technology, WAT, or the various service training centers. They act as deployment hubs.
So they integrate this XR and AI training into their existing courses.
Exactly. They provide instructors, institutional knowledge, and potentially even contribute to developing new Polish-specific training innovations on the platform.
And the Polish defense industry itself. PGZ, WB Electronics, others.
They're key collaborators, too. They help define the skills needed, especially for any locally produced or modified systems. They can validate the accuracy of the virtual equipment models, provide their own SMEs, and, as we mentioned, offer career pathways for trained personnel. It's a real ecosystem.
Makes sense. So how flexible is the deployment? Is it just in dedicated centers?
No, it seems quite adaptable. Options include setting up dedicated AI Academy centers, yes, but also integrating the tech into existing military training facilities, using mobile XR units for deployment to different bases, and running the trainer programs in Polish to build self-sufficiency.
Okay, so it's a multi-pronged approach. Let's talk bottom line. What are the key benefits EON Reality is promoting for Poland here? Can we quantify some of this?
Yeah, the projected benefits are pretty striking. We mentioned the speed potentially cutting overall training time by up to 60%, with mastery up to 4x faster for critical roles.
Which is huge when you need people operational quickly.
Absolutely. Then there's skill quality. They're projecting over 95% first-time qualification rates on complex tasks.
95%, that's high.
And knowledge retention boosted by over 75% compared to traditional methods. Plus, the absolute safety assurance you can practice high-risk procedures, emergencies, even handling live munitions virtually, like HIMARS rockets, with zero danger.
That safety aspect alone must be incredibly valuable.
Hugely. And then there's the content agility we talked about. That text to XR means near-instant creation and updates of modules in Polish, keeping training perfectly aligned with equipment updates or evolving NATO standards.
And cost? Is this cheaper?
They project significant savings up to 65% reduction in overall training costs compared to traditional methods relying heavily on live equipment and lengthy course development.
65%. That's massive potential savings that could be reallocated.
Right. It allows for broader reach, training more people, and optimizing the defense budget. The ultimate goal, they state, is creating an AI-ready, future-proof Polish armed forces.
Skilled in modern competencies like data analysis, human-machine teaming.
Exactly, which in turn strengthens Poland's contribution to NATO and the security of the eastern flank by getting these new capabilities fielded effectively much faster.
Okay, let's contrast that directly.
Yeah.
How does this stack up against, say, the traditional way Poland might have trained personnel, especially coming from that Soviet-era background?
Well, the contrast is pretty stark if you lay it out. Traditional content creation for entirely new Western systems. Months, maybe years, learning speed, standard pace. The skill focus might be purely technical, maybe with some lingering Soviet-era doctrinal carryover initially.
And safe.
Limited, especially for live practice on complex or dangerous equipment. Access to the real hardware for practice is often restricted and expensive. Human-machine interaction training might focus on older systems. Adapting the curriculum to changes. Slow. Cost. Very high, especially factoring in equipment usage, fuel, ammo, personnel time.
And job readiness.
Potentially a long ramp-up time before someone is truly operationally proficient on the new system.
Okay, so that's the traditional picture and the EON Reality XRI approach for Poland.
It's almost the mirror image on many points. Content creation. Seconds via spatial AI, learning speed, up to 4x faster, skill focus.
Sure.
Explicitly on Western systems, NATO standards, plus these emerging AI and data skills.
Safety.
Completely risk-free immersion. Equipment practice. Unlimited access to virtual replicas, human-machine interaction, explicitly trained for modern AI-enabled systems. Adaptability. Near-instant updates possible. Cost. Significantly reduced.
And job readiness.
The goal is faster operational readiness, getting skilled operators and maintainers into the field much quicker, enhancing that NATO interoperability from day one.
It's compelling. Did the materials give specific examples of where this could be applied across all the new Polish kit?
Yes, they laid out quite a few targeted use cases to show the breadth. For the Patriot air defense system and the related IBCS command system, the AI can convert technical manuals and doctrine into operator and maintainer training modules.
Okay. What about the tanks, Abrams, and the Korean K2s?
For those, the AI can generate complex tactical scenarios, virtual gunnery ranges, all set within realistic Polish terrain models for crew training.
F-35s. That's a whole different level of complexity.
For the F-35, it can help with pilot and maintainer familiarization, converting flight manuals, maintenance procedures into interactive XR experiences. Not full flight simulation, perhaps, but key procedural training.
HIMARS rocket artillery.
Crucially, for HIMARS crews, it can simulate the entire workflow, receiving fire missions, processing targeting data, potentially integrated with models of Poland's actual command and control systems, and simulating the effects of munitions.
What about Polish-developed systems like the Borsuk IFE?
Yes, they mentioned the Borsuk infantry fighting vehicle, too. The AI can assist in modeling its unique systems for crew and maintenance training.
And it goes beyond individual systems.
Definitely. Practicing NATO interoperability procedures and joint virtual exercises, scalable training for the Territorial Defense Force, maybe using simpler mobile XR for basic skills and local defense scenarios. They even mentioned using augmented reality AR to provide maintenance guidance overlays for technicians working on various Western equipment types.
So AR glasses showing repair steps directly onto the real machine.
That's the idea. Convert the manual into an interactive AR overlay.
That's a very broad range of applications. It sounds like they've thought through the different needs. There was a quote mentioned from EON Reality's chairman, Dan Ladriskar.
Yes, it really summed up their position. He stressed that while investing in the best technology is vital, it's the skilled personnel who unlock its true potential.
Makes sense. Technology is only as good as the people using it.
Exactly. And he positioned EON Reality's platform as offering Poland a genuinely transformative way to get that skilled workforce trained faster, more effectively, more cost-efficiently, and specifically for the Polish context, ensuring they're truly ready.
Especially given the current security climate in Europe.
Precisely. He highlighted the importance of this capability at such a crucial time.
So wrapping this up, it really seems this AI Academy for Defense Polish Modernization track, powered by EON Reality's Spatial AI and XR, offers a potentially game-changing solution for Poland.
It certainly presents a compelling case. Faster, safer, more effective, potentially cheaper training tailored to these advanced systems. It directly addresses that critical skills gap we talked about.
And the potential impact isn't just internal for Poland, is it?
No, absolutely not. If successful, it significantly bolsters Poland's defense capabilities, and by extension, its role as a key ally on NATO's eastern flank. Faster fielding of truly operational forces matters a lot for deterrence.
This whole deep dive has been fascinating, looking at Poland's challenge in this EON Reality approach. It really makes you think beyond defense, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, we see these rapid technological shifts and resulting skills chasms in so many industries now. Could this model using spatial AI and XR for rapid, targeted, cost-effective upskilling be a template for other sectors facing similar disruptions?
That's a really interesting thought. Manufacturing, healthcare, energy, anywhere complex new technologies are outpacing traditional training methods.
Definitely something to chew on. If listeners want to explore this specific initiative further, the material mentioned the EON XR spoken blog.
That's right. EON Reality shares details there. Their broader mission, as stated, is about making knowledge more available, transferable, and accessible globally using these kinds of immersive and AI technologies.
We'll put a link in the notes. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.